What up, YouTube? Ed coming back with my long-awaited, very late national recap video from Cleveland. Want to just do my final thoughts and show off a couple things, couple gifts, couple little packs that I got from friends in the community. I know Big Scott 35 gave me this gift, have not opened it yet. Joe, 4 Soft Corners, hooked me up with this at the baseball collector pizza party. And then I got my 2 troll packs from Big Smooth that I have yet to open. So want to crack those on open, have yet to look in there. I might actually do the troll packs in a separate video because this video is probably going to be really long because I have a lot of thoughts on the National. And I know this topic has been beat to death. You know, the horse has been beat so hard that it's no longer glue. Just the sheer amount of people that are in the community now that do videos. There's just so many national videos out there. I completely understand it. Some people get national video fatigue. The week after the National, I actually went out to Vegas to go to a concert to see Morrissey at the House of Blues. So I'm still catching up on national videos, and I watched quite a lot of them. I didn't comment on every single one, but I pretty much tried to watch everyone within the immediate community who went just to see how their show was, their perspectives, and how they did on their pickups and their goals. And the National in Cleveland this year was an incredible, incredible time. I had an absolute blast. Cleveland is a great city to host the National. The IX Center is a fantastic venue. I don't care what anyone says. I'm actually, Don, the show and me, brought this up to me on Friday that a lot of people were complaining on social media about the show, about the location, and about the venue. And that totally caught me by surprise. And then afterwards, watching some videos, I was really surprised to see all the gripes, complaints, issues with the IX Center. And I'm not trying to be obtuse or anything, but I really don't understand the criticisms because from my perspective, the IX Center did magnificently, especially compared to the Donald Stevenson Center in Chicago last year. So, just quickly compare the two. The IX Center, the entire week, was nice and cool. The air conditioner never faltered, and there was well over, I would manage to say, there was probably over 100,000 people that came through the IX Center over the course of the week. So, the place was absolutely to max capacity. Now, they did make mistakes. The west entrance should have definitely been open. That was a lapse in judgment. There should have been the east and the west entrance like there was in 2018. Why they didn't do that, I'm not entirely sure. But that is the one criticism that I can fully get behind not using the west entrance. But the IX Center, the air conditioning was great. The layout was perfect. There was tons of space in the aisles. The aisles never felt truly that crowded, at least when I was going through them Wednesday through Saturday. Felt spacious. There was areas that you can go to on the corners where there wasn't a lot of people, and obviously some of the tables had 2 to 3 rows of people trying to get in on them. There was a lot of people there looking to flip. There was vintage flippers there. There was modern flippers. There was flippers of all ages there. So there was a lot of people monopolizing dealers' time, which is understandable because this is their Super Bowl event to get stuff moved. And I just thought the layout was really, really good. There was a huge seating area in the food court area. Now, granted, they had a bunch of food trucks there. A lot of people were saying that there wasn't enough food trucks. True, but at least they made an effort to have a different variety. There's never been food trucks at the National. Usually it's just Aramark there. There's a couple stations around the convention center, but they did try to bring in extra places for people to eat. I know those food trucks were packed. The bars were packed. The basement downstairs, that was pretty much a card show within a card show. There was people that set up there the entire week. They would just plop down, open their cases, put out all their cards, and they would basically set up at the show. So that was a show within a show downstairs. Granted, it was so large down there, you could go down there to sit at a table, rest, check your phone, go through your backpack, maybe, you know, eat the lunch that you brought, have a snack, what have you. So there was plenty of space down there in the basement. And some people were totally unaware of the basement from watching some recap videos, but that basement was huge. There was tons of tables, tons of areas to sit, but there was a massive amount of people that specifically went to the National just to go into that basement, just to go to set up to sell cards. The bathroom situation, a lot of people, I didn't have no issues. I went to the bathroom 3 separate times on 3 different days, never had a problem. If all 100,000 of you are going to the same bathroom, then yeah, there's gonna be a mountain long line as far as the eye can see. There's multiple bathrooms in the IX Center. There was a bathroom all the way by the west entrance. There was 2 over by the PSA. I bet they were underground, so you had to go into the basement. There was 2 bathrooms in the VIP area, which they weren't even checking if you were a VIP. You could just go straight on in, because the staff there were very accommodating. They were very nice. They were just trying to move people around. So the bathroom situation, I don't know why a lot of people were really freaking out about that, because if you just walk to a different bathroom, you were able to get in and get out. And I had no issues with that whatsoever. And then the parking situation. I know a lot of people really have tunnel vision on the parking situation. They did have their issues. There's no doubt about that. But compared to last year, leaving the parking garage at Rosemont, several of my friends from the Airbnb, Big Scott, Mike O, Dave's midlife card crisis, it took them 2 freaking hours to get out of the parking garage just to go 2 blocks. So this whole parking myth that it's a Cleveland only issue is completely bunk, because Rosemont had the same issues. The problem that you're having with the National now is it's simply getting too big for these venues to sustain it. The growth of the National is too big. There's just too many people coming through the doors. And if it continues this acceleration of growth, because it's getting bigger every year, so if we continue on this trend, it's going to become a big safety hazard in Rosemont, which I feel like the IX Center was bigger than the Rosemont Center. They actually held off some dealers. Like I said, the west entrance and that west area, if they would have opened that, they probably could have put in 100 more dealer tables. And they could have opened that. For whatever reason, they didn't do it. But it can become a safety issue, I feel, in Chicago if the rate of the growth of the National continues. So, solutions to that. I truly believe if we continue on this path, they're going to have to cap the attendance. Now, the National's kind of weird. They never tell you the exact number of attendees, but we know that they broke the record from 1991 last year for all-time record attendance. It was a historic National, and we know this year was easily had to be over 100,000 people through the entire week. So if you're going to bottleneck all those people in Rosemont next year, I don't know if the Donnelly Stevenson can handle it, because it really struggled mightily last year holding all those people. And then another point that I see a lot of people bring up is the whole ride sharing thing, using Lyfts and Ubers, and the very strong inconvenience to that. I would also point out that last year I actually spent more on Lyft and ride shares. I spent about like $200 last year in Chicago, because we weren't across the street. We weren't at any of the hotels, because they sold out instantly, and they sold out before they even went on sale. So a lot of people have to stay further away from the Rosemont Center, and the parking situation there was just such a complete total clusterfuck that it was just easier to just do the ride share to get in. So that adds up. Ride shares add up. And I just thought it was kind of, a couple people mentioned about the inconvenience of paying for ride shares. I'm like, that's every national. People have to pay for ride shares. So I don't understand even bringing that up as a point of contention for Cleveland. But those are just some of the things that I've heard in videos that I'm like, did we go to the same show? Like, Cleveland was fantastic. The area was beautiful. The Airbnb that we stayed at was incredible. Was probably one of the best Airbnbs. Mike, Eastern Connecticut Sports Cards, absolutely knocked it out of the park. Our Airbnb was beautiful. And from watching other people's videos, I know that Rick's group, Vintage Oddball Cards, his and Four Leaf, their Airbnb was incredible. Big Smooth Jeremy, I know his Airbnb had things going on, but it was incredible. He had a hot tub, he had a pool, he had a friggin' OnlyFans girl staying there. So that's another story for another day. But it was really, really good. The Airbnbs in the Cleveland area absolutely knocked it out of the ballpark. The rooftop event that we went to at Filmington's, Filmington, Mike O, and Silver Jackify, that venue was beautiful. The rooftop bar was really nice. The American Legion Hall that was rented out for the Baseball Collector Pizza Party did the job well. It was a really, really super nice venue. Held us all, and it was a great time. So there's tons of pluses, in my opinion, for Cleveland. And I really hope it comes back there in the future, because just doing Chicago every single year, I think the National loses a little bit of its luster being in the same city every single year, even though Chicago is probably my favorite place to have the National. But we need a little diversity and a little variety in where we are going. And I keep hearing people saying that it needs to be in a city or location that can hold this huge crowd. And that is something that the board's going to have to look at, because the current rate of the growth of the National is just, it's becoming unsustainable for these venues that are being selected, like the Donald Stevenson. And, I think the IX Center would actually fare better, like I said, if they opened that west entrance. I think that it would be a little bit of a buffer. And that basement was absolutely gigantic and held a lot of people. So I think going forward, the IX Center is actually a good place to potentially use again. And the last thing I want to talk about is, I watched JT's video, Triple Crown 24, and he was talking about the flipper culture and a lot of the entitlement that a lot of the flippers had going around, and all his interactions and dealing with interacted with this flipper culture. And one of the things I pointed out to JT in one of my comments that I left him is that the National, as it is now, that is the dominant culture of the show, is this flipper culture. And it's part of the reason why the National keeps growing and growing and growing to this crazy rate, because for a lot of people, this is their Super Bowl to flip stuff. They go with the sole intent to move a lot of cards and to make a lot of money, tax-free, without a paper trail. And that is just incredibly enticing to a lot of people within the hobby. And I think that gets downplayed a lot. People don't necessarily talk about it. But it's part of the reason why the National will continue to be on the top of the food chain in regards to card shows, and will continue to be the top show in the country, because no other show in the country or in the hobby will you have a venue that large with that many people with that amount of money in the room. Now, I don't know how many collectors like me are in the room, but you have a lot of people there looking to move cards and looking to make money. And that's why the National's never going to dip in attendance. The National can be in Flint, Michigan, and there's going to be tons of people there, because it's just the National, and it's just a way to move all these cards and make some money. Every time I talk to a dealer, or every time I ask the dealer at the National, whether it be this year, whether it be last year, how'd your show go? I always hear the same thing. And the same thing is, I had my best show ever. Every year I hear the same thing. I had my best show ever. It just keeps going up and up and up and up and up. And this is past the boom. This is past the record highs. So the National, it's baked in. It's not going nowhere. This whole thing with Fanatics Fest, hyping up Fanatics Fest. It's a total nothing burger because the National's not going anywhere because there's just so many people that rely on the National. It's their Super Bowl to move stuff. And we can talk about these flippers, but they come in all ages. Like, I saw old guys. I saw guys in their 60s and they're in their 50s with their briefcases and their Pelican cases moving very, very high-end vintage. Very high-grade, high-end vintage. There was a guy who, when I was sitting there with Jeremy, he pulled out an SGC 5 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle. He wanted $100,000 in cash. There was a guy there I saw, 1952 Topps Jackie Robinson in an SGC, I think it was either a 6. It was either a 4 or 6. Again, wanted the buku bucks. So they come in all ages. It's not only just the kids, because that's like an old that's a tiring stereotype that I keep hearing. It's, oh, the kids with their Pelican cases. No, there's Gen Xers, there's boomers, there's millennials, there's people my age, there's young kids, but they come in all ages and they have all different stuff in those cases. There's vintage, there's pre-war, there's modern, there's ultra modern, there's basketball, there's TCG, there's Pokemon, there's everything. There's Tropic Thunder, there's custom cards, for Christ's sake. There's everything these people are looking to move. It's crazy. And that's one of the things that I like to do when I go to the National. I like to see what people are moving. I like to see how these people are thinking. I like to see what the pulse is. And I saw a lot of them with the vintage. So I don't want to hear that it's just, oh, they got the Prisms, they got the Wembanyamas, they got the Prism Monopolies. That's a little far for the course. I see a lot of the vintage being flipped. A lot of the good amount of pre-war. There was one guy down there with tons of pre-war, tons of tobacco. Now, whether he made sales, I don't know. I didn't hang around to see if he sold. But most of the time with those guys, if they sell one card, boom, their show is made. And, of course, you had the modern and the ultra modern. That's another thing. Don brought that up to me. Again, going back to Don. I ran into Don a lot. I ran into Eric a lot, those back pages. Who else did I run into a lot? Don and Eric are the ones I ran into the most. But anyway, Don was telling me that a lot of people were complaining that the National was vintage only. People were seriously bitching on social media that the National only had vintage cards. What a joke. There was tons of modern there. And as someone who collects all eras, I do it all. I don't limit myself to one era. I do it all, baby. But I obviously really like modern, but I do it all. There was tons of modern there. There was modern as far as the eye can see. So the ridiculousness of the assertion that it was just vintage, man, there is some bullshit being peddled out here, because that is unequivocally not true. So I'm trying to debunk, fact check a lot of the stuff that I read, a lot of the stuff that I heard. We're going on 20 minutes. That's really lengthy for me just talking and not showing off any cards. Although in the background you can see all my pickups. We got the 1951 Burke Ross, Richie Ashburn. Shout out to Mike O. He helped secure that one. We got the Tropic Thunder rated rookie of Kurt Lazarus as Sergeant Lincoln Osiris. That is a custom card. We got the Reese Hoskins Bat Slam card back there that I got from RBI Cruise 7. We got the 1913 Tom Baker game, Red Dewin, in a near mint to mint 8. Then, right along to the side there, we got Steve Carlton, lefty, the greatest left-handed pitcher of all time in baseball history, and an SGC 6.5. By the way, I didn't say it in the recap. I got that card for $200 USD. Then next to him, we got Caitlin Clark. That is the Bowman University card when she broke the scoring record. Then we also, behind her, have General Ulysses S. Grant. Then we have Mr. Kurt Simmons on the Hires root beer, and then behind that we have a John Adams soap card. So you can kind of see the variety that we are dealing with when you come to this channel. I mean, I'm all over the goddamn place. I don't like to limit myself, so we got some pre-war, we got some postcards, we got some ultra modern, we got everything. We got everything covered. But 20 minutes of your time, Smooth, I'm sorry. Again, you know, I kind of troll the troll pack here. Separate video, my friends. Separate video for this because, you know, there's probably not a lot of memory left on my phone. But 20 minutes of your time. I appreciate all the watch time, fellas. And come back for another, because we're going to beat this horse a little bit more. And we got to sell some more Elmer's glue to make a couple more videos. So that's all I got for you. Those are my thoughts. They're all over the place, but you know, there's no script here. So have a great one. Go to the National, baby. It's a great time. Winston-Salem would make a great place for the show, by the way. Just saying. The Dirty South.